Samir, who's from Muslims for Social Justice and the People's Power Lab.
Thank you, everybody. So proud to be here. I stand here proud to be in front of my fellow comrades, people from all walks of life, people that represent a rainbow of colors and beliefs, but today we're living at an important intersection where there are many forces working to put us down that do not want us to rise up. We are here to fight for equality for all people. Freedom for the Palestinians, freedom for the Kashmiris, Yemenis, Sudanese, the Congolese, and a true freedom for all of my black, brown, oppressed people all over the world, and right here in Chapel Hill. It is in the best interest of those in power to keep us down, to keep us blinded by the capitalist hegemony that rules our country and so-called developed countries. Our society wants to keep us distracted by the latest trends, celebrities, and Stanley Cups. It wasn't long ago that this was an all-white campus, built by slaves of the founders on the land that was stolen from the Occaneechi, Shakori, Eno, and Sissipaha peoples. Even after the Supreme Court ruled that this campus had to be integrated, it wasn't until there were dozens of sit-ins and protests, those that led to many arrests, violence against many black students. Work to make change started in college campuses just like this one. In 1964, students from NC a university in Greensboro took that torch by sitting in at an all-white lunch counter at Woolworth's. What will you do? Just 3 years ago, a black professor, Nicole Hannah-Jones, was denied tenure here at UNC because of her work on telling the story of slavery in the U.S. We know that status quo is no longer an option. If we continue to think our strugglers are separate and unconnected, they have already won. We must stand together, united and strong against the imperialistic forces that want to keep us silent. They want to intimidate us to stop telling the truth. They want to break the bonds that tie us in our cause. But as students, you can lead the charge against these attempts to divide us. Our struggles are connected in that those in power believe that what they do is right at all costs because they've made up the rules. We're tired of playing their game. Amen. With all the work that we're doing together, and especially U.S. students, we can take that narrative back. The ethnic cleansing in Palestine is not dissimilar to the gentrification here in the U.S. The same tactics that the Zionist IDF has used on Palestine are the same tactics the Hindutva right-wing movement in India has used against Muslims and Sikhs in India and Kashmir. In fact, a bulldozer was the symbol that the BJP used in their election rallies in India. Those very same bulldozers, the ones that destroyed Sikh gurdwaras, homes and masjids in India. Prime Minister Modi just laid the foundation of a temple right on top of the ruins of a demolished masjid. Right now, the IDF is using Caterpillar bulldozers in Gaza and the West Bank to demolish masjids and homes with families still inside. Caterpillar is an American company. Neighborhoods right here in Durham and Raleigh are being leveled for high-rise apartments, displacing communities, creating food deserts, and making living costs too high for anyone to stay. The IDF and the Hindutva movements are working hand in hand. It's the very same IDF that has trained police to treat our working class, black and brown brothers and sisters in cities and towns across the U.S. as an occupied people. We worked hard to make that change in Durham, as it's the only city to ban police training with the Israeli military. The powers that be will do everything to protect their pockets and make sure their capitalist, imperialist needs take precedence over any human rights. Look carefully at any conflict the U.S. has been involved in the past 50 years, and you will struggle to see any just cause. But what But what it will not be a struggle to see is that in all these conflicts, it is students and student action which has paved the way for movements to grow and to prosper. Today, and for the past 3 months, for the first time in history, the Palestinian people have been live streaming their own genocide. A people that have been denied the right of self-determination for over 75 years, where land has been stolen daily for 75 years, where men, women, and children are arrested and held for with no charges for years. Where over 700,000 olive trees have been destroyed, and that has been a lifeline for Palestinians for centuries. In the world today, 80% of those that are facing starvation live in Gaza. The so-called democracy of Israel has cut off electricity and water and bombed every hospital, murdering over 25,000 and thousands still missing. Those that have survived
Waiting for pairing.
may now be the only ones left from their families. Thousands are missing limbs and vulnerable to death from infections from the lack of medications. Possibly 500,000 are in the danger of death within the next year due to the lack of health care, food, water, shelter, and electricity. How can we continue to let this happen? The U.S. cannot say they're interested in peace if they continue to send weapons of mass destruction to Israel. So we must hold our elected officials accountable. Is this what we asked for? Our military budget is almost $900 billion, more than the next 10 countries combined. One thing year after year both Republicans and Democrats agree on is this. Why are our politicians allowed to hold stocks, bonds, and futures in things they vote to fund? The amount the U.S. spends on killing could be better used here to make sure that we are living just and equitable lives. That our tax dollars go to us and not funding endless wars. Our schools, healthcare, and children take a back seat to the needs of our politicians and the 1% that funds them. So I come back to a quote from Ella Baker, a civil rights activist who worked directly with the students with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. She said, "Until the killing of black men, black mothers, sons becomes as important to the rest of the country as killing of a white mother's son who we believe in freedom cannot rest until this happens." We are still not there. So when is the killing of a Palestinian as important as the killing of anyone else? So the test is upon us, not upon Palestine, but us here. What will you do to help make change here and now to speak truth to power? For there is power in truth, and there is power among students. Power to all of you, and free Palestine!
Thank you so much, and we're gonna have a little bit